Today, I want to talk about something that could be quietly destroying your future. Something you are probably doing right now. Maybe even something you are proud of doing. It is this habit of telling everyone your plans. I am serious. Think about it. How many of you have posted something like, starting a new business? Wish me luck. And felt amazing. How many of you have sat with friends for hours talking about the empire you're going to build, the money you're going to make, the life you're going to live? Feels incredible, right? Stop doing that, and today I am going to tell you exactly why. When I was young, I had the same disease. I was so in love with my ideas that I couldn't keep them inside. I tell anybody who'd sit still long enough, friends, family, strangers at dinner, didn't matter. I was going to change the world and I needed everyone to know about it. But I started noticing a pattern. Every time I talked about something big, it went nowhere. Every time I stayed quiet and just worked, things happened. That wasn't a coincidence. Here's what nobody tells you. The moment you share your plan with the world, you open the door to 100 people who've never done what you are trying to do, suddenly becoming experts on why it won't work. It is like inviting every chef in the city into your kitchen to cook one meal. You end up with nothing edible and a very messy kitchen. People give advice based on their own fears, their own failures, their own ceilings. And some of them, let's be honest, don't actually want to see you win. They'll smile at your face and quietly hope you stumble. That is just human nature. It is not evil. It is just real. And here is the sneakier problem. When you talk about your plans and someone says, well, that sounds amazing, your brain registers that as a small win, a tiny hit of accomplishment. And suddenly, without realizing it, the hunger that was supposed to drive you into action gets spent on conversation. Instead, you mistake talking for doing. You mistake excitement for progress. The energy you should have put into building, you burn up explaining. Now I know what some of you are thinking. But Jack, shouldn't I get feedback? Shouldn't I talk to people who care about me? Yes, of course. But here is the difference. There is a gap between seeking guidance and seeking applause. When I started Alibaba, I told people what I was building, but they said the internet was for Western countries. They said Chinese people would never buy things they couldn't touch, couldn't feel, wouldn't bargain over in the market. One of my own teachers, a man I respected, looked me in the eye and said, Jack, maybe teaching is safer for you. If I had taken every opinion seriously, Alibaba dies before it starts. The people closest to you aren't always the people best positioned to advise you. They love you, yes, but they're seeing your dream through the lens of their own fears. They haven't lived inside your head. They don't feel what you feel at 3 a.m. when you can't sleep because you are too fired up about an idea. So how can they truly tell you what is possible for you? Think of your vision like a seed. You don't dig it up every week to show the neighbors it is growing. You water it, you protect it, you stay patient. Then one day it is a tree, fully grown. And now everyone can see it. That is when you show people, not before. When you stop performing your goals and start quietly executing them, something shifts. The noise disappears. Other people's opinions stop living rent-free in your head. And in that silence, real work gets done. Let me tell you a story that still makes me laugh. In the early days of Alibaba, the whole world was panicking about the dot-com bubble. Every business meeting I attended, someone would say, Jack, e-commerce in China, you are building on sand. Nobody here wants to shop online. Did I argue? Did I go around trying to convince people they were wrong? I went back to my office, ate instant noodles, and kept building. No money, no brand, no guarantee of anything. We didn't have time for long debates about whether we'd succeed. We were too busy figuring out how to. And when Alibaba finally broke through, people were genuinely stunned. How did this happen? Where did this come from? I just smiled. I didn't say, I told you so, though I thought it. That is the quiet power of letting results do the talking. You don't win the argument. You make the argument irrelevant. Now let's talk about something uncomfortable. Jealousy. Not everyone who smiles at your plans is rooting for you. Some people hear your dream and something shifts in them. Something small. Something they might not even admit to themselves. And when you hand them your vision, you are also handing them a map of exactly where to plant down. Are you sure about this? That sounds really risky. Do you really think you are the right person for that? It sounds like concern. It feels like care. But drop by drop, it fills you with questions you didn't have before. And one morning, you wake up and you are not sure anymore. The dream feels smaller. Your confidence has a hole in it. That is what unguarded sharing does. It gives people access to something fragile before it is strong enough to survive their skepticism. The solution isn't bitterness. The solution is discretion. Don't give people the chance to pour cold water on something that is still just a spark. Let it become a fire first. Then it doesn't matter who blows. I am not telling you to become a closed-off lone wolf. I had people in my corner during the darkest days of building Alibaba, a small, trusted circle. They didn't always understand exactly what I was doing, but they believed I'd figure it out. That is a difference. You don't need 100 opinions. You need 2 or 3 people with good judgment and genuine investment in your growth. People who've done the hard things themselves. People who tell you the truth when you need to hear it, not to discourage you, but to sharpen you. Find those people, guard access to them, listen deeply when they speak, and keep everything else close to your chest. Here is one more thing I want to address, and this is important. Sometimes we announce our plans because we are scared. We think broadcasting our goals makes us accountable. We think if we tell enough people, we'll be too embarrassed to quit. That is not accountability. That is fear dressed up as strategy. Fear is the worst possible foundation for a decision. When you're acting from fear of judgment, fear of looking like a fool, fear of failing quietly, you are not thinking straight. You are not building. You are managing your reputation instead of building your future. Failure is not the enemy. Failure is the curriculum. I failed repeatedly building Alibaba. Strategies that collapsed, partnerships that didn't work. Months where I didn't know if we'd survive. But because I wasn't busy defending a public narrative, I could fail fast, learn fast, and move on. I wasn't protecting an announcement. I was just solving a problem. Keep your plans private and you free yourself to experiment without an audience. You give yourself permission to be wrong, and that is exactly how you eventually get it right. Here is the most honest thing I can tell you today. Nobody cares about your plans. They care about your results. You can narrate your entire journey, every intention, every strategy, every vision board. And if nothing materializes, it means nothing but show up one day with something real, something built, something that works. You don't need to explain a thing. The results explain themselves. When Alibaba became, there was nothing left to debate. No one was asking whether e-commerce could work in China anymore. The conversation was over. We ended it, not with an argument, but with a company. That is what I want for you. Protect your vision, not because you are secretive, but because it deserves a space to grow before the world gets its hands on it. Keep your head down long enough to build something they can't ignore. Let your silence become a strategy and your execution become the announcement. So as you move forward, whatever you are building, whatever you are chasing, whatever dream is keeping you up at night, Remember this, don't perform your ambitions, pursue them, don't seek validation from people who can't see what you see. Trust that what you see is real and go build the proof. Don't let fear of judgment push you into oversharing. Let confidence in your work keep you quiet. Work, focus. And one day, when you've built the thing, when it is real and standing and undeniable, people will ask you, how did you do it? How did we not see this coming? And you'll smile because you'll know exactly why they didn't see it coming. You kept it to yourself.